Peace. Over on Rumble, of course, we will unpause and, of course, repause. Yeah, baby. BW sticks. Food stamps will be canceled in November if shutdown continues. Some conservatives use them. Do you think Trump will be blamed and lose mids? Yeah, that's why I made a video the other day, a new tech exclusive, saying, look, food stamps is like the only welfare program that kind of pays for itself. You should probably discontinue it. Look for some discretionary funding or something like that. Figure it out. Yeah, the Trump administration would be ill-advised to allow food stamps to lapse. They're going to take heavy attrition for that. Because the Democrats typically are the party that they've been pushing the idea of not just food stamps, but other welfare, and the Republicans generally are the ones that hold back. Now, I realize that Trump doesn't have a problem with SNAP, but if it's not funded, he's still going to take the blame. So it would be best if they just fucking funded it. So we will be, I believe we'll actually be talking about that. Didn't I have a link open for that? No, actually I didn't. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, they're already preemptively trying to blame him anyway. Healy calls on Trump to unfreeze food stamps funding. U.S. states warn food aid benefits will halt if federal shutdown drags on. I mean, the Democrats are the ones that are dragging it on, but it does not matter in this particular instance. Keep in mind the demographic cohort that tends to be reliant on food stamps. I'm actually amenable to this. I was on food stamps for a few months many years ago when I was down and out. I was skipping meals and shit like that. I know what it's like to be dirt fucking poor. So on this particular issue, I would say just fucking continue the program. Find some discretionary spending. Figure out a way to keep it moving during the shutdown. Otherwise, the Democrats are going to use it as, by the way, a huge political cudgel. And it will be an effective one. You'd be handing them ammunition at a time when they don't even know how to aim the bow. So, yeah, it's probably a bad idea. See, here we go. MSNBC. How Trump is using the shutdown to exploit a looming food stamps crisis. Trump canceled 94 million pounds of food aid. Here's what never arrived. Probably food that was spoiled or something like that, but, it just happens. I think we might have connection issues at the moment. Can everyone see and hear me? It looks like there might be a problem on all platforms, actually. I don't want to get into the news if nobody can hear me, so, Feral carnivore. What? Okay, Maga Tapwater, you can see and hear me. Yeah, there appears to have been a slight glitch there. YouTube has had some problems all day. This morning, I was trying to use YouTube, looking into the news and things like that, and it didn't really work. And then Rumble was also having issues. It could be part of this weird cyber attack or whatever the hell it happens to be. I think it affected Amazon for a while the other day as well. So, I don't know. You never know. But we get to talk about the reactions to the White House renovation, or demolition, as some people are terming it. I noticed that the same people didn't have a problem when Obama, which is, again, a stereotypical trope that is absolutely hilarious, he decided to take apart a part of the White House to put in a basketball court. You couldn't get more stereotypical than that. U.S. military strikes boat in Pacific in apparent expansion of campaign against alleged drug trafficking. Yeah, that Venezuelan flagged ship was just sailing towards U.S. territorial waters for no reason. It couldn't have anything to do with drugs. That's never happened before. We'll talk about Mamdanis' sushi meal. He's looking more and more like Gavin Newsom at this point. Now, you're rich, right? Say you're making 6-7 figures or something. I don't really care if you get an expensive sushi dinner once in a while, but when you're trying to cast yourself off as the working class candidate, the down and out boy or something like that, it doesn't work quite so well, now does it? Mm. There was a comedian riffing about that, Michael Rappaport, of course, and this was quite funny. We've got quantum echoes. We've got to talk about the connection between the rise of quantum computing, the rise of AI, and how they might conjoin. This could be very, very good, or it could be very, very bad. Unfortunately, humans are the ones controlling these systems, so probably on the latter end. And I guess we'll address food stamps. I like how they do this too. Veterans, rural residents, older adults may lose food stamps due to Trump work. Yeah, there are certain demographics they're not mentioning. I wonder why. It's quite clearly a hit job. And the fact is that I do believe that Donald Trump should continue the SNAP benefits for people through the shutdown. Find the fucking money. Axe one of the agencies or something like that because he's been, reducing the bureaucracy. Just fucking axe one of them entirely. Get rid of the IRS and say, hey, now this money is for food stamps. That would probably endear you to a lot of people. Also, it would be more useful. Gristle lumps. It do be like that, Mr. Stansel. Oh, God, I saw that the other day. It was almost impossible to avoid it. BW, oh God, please tell me he will be advised to fix this. Well, if he takes the advice of myself and other people that are pragmatic, fucking fix it. Food stamps, you get like a 90% return. This is so far above and beyond the average welfare program. If you're funding pretty much anything else, you're not getting anywhere near that. This is one of the most efficient programs, actually, that liberals in the government have ever created. And so, of course, it's the first to go. Yeah, imagine that. What a coincidence. But the Democrats, I'll tell you what they're doing. And this is why Trump needs to find some discretionary funding to keep it going. They're going to try to hold it over the heads of the most weak, vulnerable, and poor individuals within the country. They're trying to start riots and shit like that. You must not allow this to happen. That would be my advice to the Trump administration. Again, you finally developed a welfare program that pretty much brings in a solid return. It's worth continuing. Dude, there are people that rely upon that, so, I would keep it going. Just saying. Although I do believe in the reform that the Trump administration has administered with regards to food stamps, part of that is, hey, you're no longer allowed to use this on, like, pre-processed food and stuff like that. That makes sense, because it's meant to be a supplement. It's not meant to be your entire diet. It's meant to be, hey, you bought, fresh vegetables and fruits and things like that, which otherwise would be unaffordable to you, so that you get more vitamins, more minerals, it's better. Some of these people have kids. Of course, kids should not be fucking starving in a nation as wealthy as the United States. It's pretty much a no-brainer. But the Democrats will hold it over your head if you allow them to do so. Don't allow them, therefore, to do so. That would be a bad idea. Yeah, I mean, I've used food stamps before. In fact, I know many people who have. None of us did it because we wanted to grift the system. We did it because we just weren't economically capable of, actually eating. Eating is rather important. It's recommended by the FDA as part of your daily diet, actually eating food. There's a reason for that. I was scrounging fucking cigarette butts off of the asphalt, dude. Didn't buy a pack of cigarettes for a long time, back when I was a smoker, of course. Didn't actually have to buy them, because I noticed that most people only smoke about half of them anyway. But we'll get into the demolition debate, which isn't really much of a debate. It's really more of a farce. Oh, wait till you see Gavin Newsom's comments on this. I spent 10 minutes laughing this morning. I almost shit myself because I was laughing so hard at one point. In the morning, because you're regular, you have to poop. And I was laughing really, really hard. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I need to go to the bathroom immediately. It is important. This happens on a non-regular basis, thank you. I'm regular. but my outbursts of laughter, they're more reliant upon looking at a bunch of leftoids and the crazy shit that they've said recently. Gavin Newsom, he takes the cake with that one. So we're going to talk about the White House renovations first, the Narco boats, Mamdanis' hilarious sushi night, and also there's something, quantum computing. Again, it could be tied into AI, so it makes sense to actually talk about it. The real Misha, America isn't capable of making enough weapons. Look at your stockpiles. Oh, it's capable, it's just that it was held back for so long. The Biden administration, of course, not necessarily friendly towards creating ammunition, guns, and so forth, unless they were being shipped to another country where there's no Second Amendment. You should probably ask yourself, if the government is doing such a thing, does that mean that they're taking the militia seriously? My answer, of course, is no. Speaking of militia, later on I'm going to be playing fucking Napoleon Total War. I'm going to do the Salamanca, I believe, campaign. That's fun. I love deploying howitzers. By the way, deploy howitzers and make sure that they're unlimbered when you start the game, and it makes everything a whole lot fucking easier, especially in forested areas. I prefer the shorter ranged howitzers over the longer range cannons because they can actually kill the enemy when they're in the forest. So unless you're in the middle of the desert, you probably want howitzers. Unless you have the Grande Batterie de la République for the French in the vanilla game. I'm not talking about Napoleon Total War 3. By the way, I like both of them. Their remake of the game was substantial. The number of historical regiments and so forth that they added in. They even have, like, under the United States flag, you can have a couple of Vermont regiments of militia. I like that. And the maps are bigger and it's much more involved. The only problem is that every military should at the very least be able to draft the basic units. Like, that should not be a limited factor. Instead, they went with a much more historical mode. I don't know, I'm nerding out, I like the game, just saying. Harrison Bergeron, I prefer low-yield nukes. They didn't have those back in the early 1800s, sadly. Yeah, sometimes I play as the French, sometimes I play as the British. It sort of depends on the map and like how I'm feeling at the time. It's fun to play as the Ottomans because some of their infantry does not have ranged ability, but you can dogpile the enemy and just go into melee mode, and it's still fun. It doesn't matter whether you win or lose anyway. It's just playing the game. So first we'll get to our sponsors here, then we'll get to the news. This might be a bit of a sparse news day, because really, the White House renovations, like CNN has a live feed right now. Oh, watch while the White House is destroyed. Nah, I mean, it's not the White House. Nothing's actually being destroyed. It's called renovation. It's no different from a renovation show, like the sort of thing that you would see on TV. But this is a historic house. I mean, the East Wing was made in the 1940s, so it's not original. But, Donald Trump is destroying the White House has become sort of the flavor of the day news topic. Snakes bleed red. You can't be sad from a rooster living out his best life. They don't stand down from anything. They have hearts of steel. Don't be sad he did what he was born to do. Start shit and fight. True, evolutionarily, yeah. Sometimes they don't win, but they never give up. Yeah, keep kicking your heel spurs into the other rooster, basically. I think that was part in Roots, actually, when, let's see, it was Chicken George, yeah, he was managing the roosters for Massa, basically. And they would put spurs on their claws, and they would rip each other apart. And then there was this one scene where Massa's like, piss on him, boy, piss on him. In order to stanch the bleeding and prevent infection, basically. Would have been a weird time to live in, dude. Just saying. Let's get to our sponsors first, though. Then we'll get into the news. We have cultivated-mind.com, where you can get mushroom pills. I took mine this morning. You can tell from how energetic I am. We've also got Doggy Dose. You can give it to your doggos as well. Your pupper will definitely have an advantage if they take Doggo Dose. Doggy Dose. Same thing. Actually, I think it should be named Doggo Dose because then it's more mimetic. I take at least one of these a day. Normally, I take two. There are various varieties of it. You should try them out. I highly recommend them. I wouldn't be pushing them if I didn't use them myself. And it gives me a lot more energy. I don't even need caffeine anymore. BiltongUSA.com, where Anton can ship you delicious meat. Wagyu, Angus, Cabanassi. Doesn't really matter. I mean, he seems to have pretty much every dead animal that's in existence. And they're all delicious. You'd probably cook them in some of the Vegemite if you wanted to. You'd probably make some sort of a stir fry or something like that. Made one the other day. Didn't add Bovrite though. I didn't have any on hand. Bovrite, Vegemite, Marmite. We've also got Stick, Sex, and Hammer mugs, tumblers, and shirts available as well. All sorts of merch. You should check it out. And then finally, we got jamandbean.com. That is JAMNbean.com, where you can get some delicious tea. We be clanking. You can also get Clank coffee. This is the Clank. There's also Costa Rica blend, various teas available. I've got quite a pile of it. I really, really like tea, but, I mean, God, he's sending me so much. I can't even drink it all. I'm not complaining, though. More is better than less with regards to tea. I really just want to go out there and dress as the Mad Hatter and just drink tea all day or something like that. So, those are our sponsors. Now, but first, actually, I think I have a couple more super chats. Tucka Woman Sandy Ravage, new Japanese PM, is also a heavy metal drummer. I did see that. That is impressive. Hey, you've got a politician that actually has another skill unrelated to politics? Okay, respect. We'll see how she does. Noonery Clips Sticks. No to regime change in Venezuela. I don't want Trump to commit his own Iran-Contra. I agree with you completely. Go ahead and go after the narco boats. I don't have a problem with that because, I mean, it's quite clearly a narco boat. Hey, he left off from Venezuela, you know, with a sketchy group of pirates, basically. And there's a bunch of white powder in the back of the ship. And you're headed towards U.S. territorial waters. I don't care if they bullseye them. But you are correct. I would not support an invasion of Venezuela or regime change or anything like that. Nor would any sane person. While I like the people of Venezuela enough to want them to be free of socialism, doing that would not accomplish the task. It would be useless. It wouldn't actually help them. It would create a bunch of infighting and polarization and a bunch of partisan divide that actually in the end could fuck us in the ass. So, my nation suffers, the Venezuelans are not, you know, unsuffering. What's the point? So I agree with you on that one. Turtle's Toy Box. Stick sacrificed all his cats to Stolas. No, they're still here, it's just they don't want to be on camera. They're camera shy. Copium poppies. White powder. Yeah, get some of that up in ya. Be like, Hunter Biden snorting Parmesan cheese off of the carpet. Actually. Can you imagine how funny it must have been to actually see him do such a thing? That would be pretty funny. Yeah. So I wanted to talk first about the White House renovation. It's being cast off as a demolition, but that's not what it is. The White House is a building. The East Wing, which is what's currently being renovated, at least one side of the facade, actually was built in, if I believe, 1942. It was under FDR. And he had the East Wing built. This is offices, and I think he had a pool put in or something like that. He decided to have it built. ripping off the facade of the building is clearly necessary in order to put in a ballroom. Other presidencies have talked about this ballroom that has never been made. Trump is funding it privately. It's not being funded by the taxpayers. I'm sure that there's going to be some bill footed by taxpayers, but it's going to be so negligible compared to other government programs and things like that. I mean, what is it? I pay one extra penny in tax dollars for the year? Yeah, I'm willing to absorb that cost because it's hysterical. Meanwhile, Gavin Newsom comes out, shares a picture of the torn out facade. Oh my God, Donald Trump is destroying the White House. But it's not even the White House. It's the East Wing. It's an adjacent building that is connected topically to the White House. Has nothing to do with the original structure. The original structure of which has been rebuilt several times, by the way. You had Obama putting in his basketball court, which is, again, hilarious. You had JFK put in a pool. You had Nixon put in a bowling alley, which is pretty cool. I mean, I wonder if Trump ever, plays bowling. I would love to go bowling with Trump. He'd probably beat my ass because I'm no good at bowling. And other things that have been done throughout time. For instance, the Oval Office, which is iconic, never existed until Taft. Well, that was quite some time ago. There was no Oval Office. He decided to redesign the presidential chamber, making it the Oval Office that it is today. When they did that, they had to knock out some wall work because you have to do that. I mean, some of these people, it's like Gavin Newsom knows better. He's intelligent enough to know why he's saying his bullshit. But a lot of people, they don't understand anything about engineering, architecture, construction, and related topics. I took 4 semesters of architectural drawing. I think I know what I'm talking about. If I want to put an addition, for example, on this office here, in theory, I can just bolt something to the side of it, pour new slab and so forth, but I'm probably going to have to tear out the wall. It wouldn't make any sense to have outward-facing windows adjacent to whatever I'm building. Like, you can put in a door or something like that, but it's going to look like shit. If you want to have a stately structure for Capitol Hill purposes, you're going to have to tear out that wall. You have no choice. There's nothing else that you can do about it. At least Donald Trump is funding it himself. And then there was the separate bit where they were complaining about the conceptual design. If you look topically at the conceptual design of the new ballroom, with its, faceted ceiling and lighting and so forth, it looks a little bit like St. Petersburg or Moscow, right? It looks like something you see at the Kremlin. It also looks a lot like what you would see in Paris or London or Denmark or basically any other European city. It's a European design, quite clearly. But they only focus on one of them. They only focus on the Russian one. It's pretty funny. Just tell us, we still love the Hexenhammers in Lincolnton, North Carolina. Thank you for the love. I could use some sometimes. Spike, any thoughts about the NBA gambling and point fixing scheme coming out? Makes me wonder how many other sports this is happening in. All of them. That's the answer. I don't really care about it. I don't care if they gamble on their own games. It doesn't matter because they're fixed anyway, usually. Copium poppies. The cocaine supremacist movement is now a thing. White powder. I don't do coke, but it's funny anyway. Yeah, it is funny. White powder, white power. You get the joke, everyone. Haha. Lunar eclipse sticks, but why Trump greenlight CIA in Venezuela? I don't care. There's nothing to be done about him. The CIA pretty much does whatever the hell it wants, it seems. I don't think anyone can really corral them. Vu Viet Hong, what do you think about the current beef price sticks? The left is using it to attack Trump's tariff on X now. Yeah, they should have looked at the beef prices right before he came into office. The inflation has largely sloughed off. Yeah, is beef more expensive now? Yeah, of course it is. Does this matter? No, it really doesn't. If anything, it's an argument for people to grow their own beef. Raise a couple cows, if you've got the room. Syndicate with your local community. Some people have land, some people don't. So one person raises a couple cattle, maybe a pig or something. Another person raises a bunch of tomatoes and shit. Another person's really good at canning. Syndicate yourselves. Become less reliant upon centralized government. I've been pushing this for years. Somebody knows how to sew, somebody knows how to can. There are all sorts of hobbyist sort of skills that people have, but they're not really synthesizing them. If they just did that, fuck, you'd barely need a government at all. It's a great idea. So yeah, Gavin Newsom really stepped in it though, because when he put out that image, like he's getting fact-checked in real time, not just by Twitter and community notes, but also just by random people. Like, I was like, whatever drugs you're on, man, I need some of those. It was pretty funny. In fact, let me read him verbatim. Let me get the Gavin Newsom quote verbatim with regards to the White House, because he's hamming it up. He always looks like he has diarrhea or something, like he's about to go to the bathroom, but it can't quite come out, and he's frustrated by it. I don't know, the dude gives me the creeps. A little bit. Let's see. And they're talking about food benefits on here, too. It doesn't even make any sense. Donald Trump doesn't want you to see this picture. He's literally destroying the White House. Meanwhile, the White House is in the background. This is the East Wing, of course. It's funny because I believe it is actually true that the Chuck Schumer office is part of the demolition. I have no problem with this, by the way. He should be doing his work from a tent because he never does any work anyway. And, ripping apart the White House just like he's ripping apart the Constitution. And they've got a picture of the front porch facade. It's not even damaging the interior offices, but they have to remove it. This is Gavin Newsom's idea of logic, by the way. He's hoping that people are too stupid to understand how stupid he is. Thankfully for Gavin Newsom, most of the people that would ever support him are actually that stupid. So he has nothing to worry about, my dude. Cooking Inferno. Greetings, clankers. Back from a 3-day stint at the county farm. It was a very interesting experience being in a unit with a cell and what comes with that. I know the feel. Not just sympathy, empathy. Yeah, the justice system does not exist, by the way, everyone. It's the injustice system. Just to be clear, people who murder and mutilate some kid, they'll be out in 10 years, and then somebody else does something that no reasonable person would think was anything other than minor at most, and they'll still end up with at least probation. You get like a one-strike rule. First time around, unless it's a violent or fairly significant crime, you get probation or something like that. Next time around, you probably won't be so lucky. So, you better watch yourself. It's bullshit, honestly. Leon, they trying to catch sticks riding dirty. I don't do that sort of thing. Turtle's Toy Box. Interesting literary point. There are Masonic phone books listing the info of every member initiated in that state. I actually have a number of books. These are older because I collect old books that have rosters, actually. Not just from the Freemasons at large, but also from some of the, I think it was called the, was it the Eastern Star? I think it is, with their female members. And it has like, it'll have contact information. It has a list of people who died that year. It has a list of new members. It has a list of certain events and stuff like that. It's basically a circular. They're very, very interesting. I wish I had 1,000 more of them to read. Very, very interesting pieces of literature, although there's no like deep, dark, secret stuff in there. It's basically like a guest list. Spike. Remember a while back when Newsom posted a picture of him versus Vance about who was cooler when they were younger, basically making fun of Vance for being poor. That might bite him in the ass later. Yeah, I think that it will, by the way. It's like, hey, you hate poor Americans, you know? Yeah, no shit. I was dirt poor. When have you been dirt poor, boy? Stupid bitch. I would love for JD Vance to come out and just say bitch to Newsom and then just wander off. Be the most funny thing ever. I'm not necessarily 100% on Vance. Like, I like him. I would definitely vote for him. But I don't know that I like all of his beliefs. But in regards to Newsom, there is no comparison to be made here, my friend. Primal Werewolf sticks. Yes, indeed, it is me. U.S. military strikes boat in Pacific, an apparent expansion of campaign against alleged drug trafficking. Actually, there were 2 strikes, but they're only reporting 1 for some reason. I'm not 100% sure. I approve of this completely. If a boat is coming from Venezuelan territorial waters and headed towards U.S. territorial waters, there's pretty much only one reason that it would be headed in that direction. That's to deposit fentanyl or cocaine or something like that. Now, there is one problem. And I mentioned this on the last live stream, and this is what I worry about. What I worry about is them realizing, hey, we can have a couple of innocent children civilians on board the boat. They get killed too, and then the United States takes the blame for it, and or they don't dare to actually strike the boat in the first place. They seem to be too unintelligent to have figured this out, by the way, at this time, which is a good thing. I think that will begin to happen. They're probably trafficking children anyway, so using human shields sort of makes sense now, doesn't it? I wouldn't be surprised if that begins. Beast Mode the Goat. Trump is a stupid piece of shit. He appears to currently be in the White House. Where are you, my friend? Maybe your house is painted white. I'm not 100% sure. Let's see. Just give me a second here. Pre-59 Cuban. Deathmatch Vance versus New Scum. Vance, I think, will take the field on that particular one. Newsom, he's going to try to run. That much is clear. He's made it clear. He's making it clear right now. He will run. Whether he can even get the Democratic primary, though, is really the big question. I think that Vance will very likely be the next president. It's possible that he would lose, but I don't really see anything forming up on the Democratic lines that can really do anything about him. If it's Newsom, because he's an amphetamine addict and extremely cringe, I don't think that he would be able to beat J.D. Vance. I would have some reservations about Vance, but not enough to convince me not to vote for him and not to support him. Overall, the difference would be vast when you think about it. Newsom is palling around with, the rich elite. Vance, vice president under a rich elite, but he happens to be the only one in U.S. history that is uniquely profiled. There's a little bit of a difference there. Vance did come out of a working class background. Gavin Newsom came out of a silver spoon background. That is meaningful to a lot of American voters. I mean, again, it doesn't mean anything to me. Like, Trump came out of a silver spoon sort of situation as well. But the thing is, he decided to actually do something for the working class. Newsom is trying to rip off the Trump style of shitposting online. It is not working too well. Now, I know, tens of thousands of people liked your tweet. That's great, but all of those people liked you to begin with. It's not the tweet that they like, it's you that they like. And so there's a little bit of an illusion there as well. A little bit different from what Donald Trump is doing. Cooking Inferno. Kidding aside, the guys in my unit were decent folks. Most were in for breaking bail or possession charges. Of course, everyone was innocent, but the crimes they were charged with were so picayune. I'm glad that I understand what that word means, by the way. I think we're probably the only two people here that do. Yeah, it's bullshit, basically. So-called justice system. Bullshit. Sigil. I doubt the cartels will start using human shields because their watercraft need to be as light on anything that isn't cargo as possible. They could have started doing that any time, but haven't. Yeah, but if you get like one 10-year-old girl on there, then you can say that the United States has committed some sort of grievous war crime in international waters. It would not be difficult for them to do so. I suspect that that will happen at some point. Thankfully, they haven't gotten the memo yet. VW, I did a truth social about FS. Stick should too, lol. I haven't done that yet. Honestly, while I admire the concept behind Truth Social, I can only use so many social media sites at the same time. So, yeah. Hairball, you'll want to have kids when you're older. I've got a daughter. I don't know if you were addressing me. Just in case you were. Michael Rappaport rips working class Zoran Madani for eating at pricey sushi restaurant. This is really, really funny to me. Now, let me preface this. If somebody is wealthy, I do not care if they go to a pricey restaurant. I don't care if they buy a limo. I don't care if they make a ballroom, you know? Inclusion intended. I don't really give a shit what they do with their money. They got their money through some means, and now they're allowed to spend it exactly as they want. What I do have a problem with, and what is funny in this, is that you have Zoran Mamdani constantly talking about how he's a working class American. You have never been in the working class. You were part of a fairly wealthy family, from Uganda, by the way. So, you know, you weren't even born in the United States. Again, not that that necessarily matters, but you were born in Uganda to a family that had the ability to bring you to the United States. You pretend to be like a working class hero, like some John Lennon song or something like that, but then you're getting $60 a plate sushi. It would be very, very nice to be able to have a plate of that sushi at the moment. Unfortunately, even those of us who have pretty much made it in life don't really have the money right now, because your boy, Joe Biden, fucked up the economy. Have you seen the fucking prices lately? I laugh sometimes when I see the prices in the grocery store, and it doesn't matter which one you use, by the way. About the cheapest is Aldi's, I suppose, which is funny because I believe that's a German company. When you look at the prices, you'll burst out laughing. You know, if you buy in bulk and you're buying just cheap shit, then basically like that steak that you just ate becomes a luxury item more than anything else. And so this is just another symbol of people on the left being out of touch. Number one, out of touch, and number two, also being hypocritical. Because the political ideology that this retard follows stresses that this should not be a thing. Effectively, the bourgeois get the sushi, and everyone else, they get the fish that's kind of rotting in the alleyway or something like that. Mamdani would be killed as bourgeoisie under a truly Marxist administration, actually, as well, which is pretty funny. Sigil, the bitch has always been finding the boats and subs. Once we find them, they're fucked and can't escape. The bombs were just convenience and we go back to boarding them, yar. Yeah, that's what we should be doing. You know, fuck this whole bombing the boats bullshit. Why don't we send out letters of marque and allow people like me, who are insane, to take fishing trawlers, board the vessels, take the drugs by force, along with anything else we want, and then we'll just sell them. You know, if the government wants to burn them afterwards, that's, I guess, fine. It's useless, but it's fine. But we'll take the goods. Give me that cocaine, man. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, the bougie gets the sushi, as they say. So Mamdani is, I mean, literally, he's just a rich boy that's pretending to be, from the working class. He's never working class. Bullshit. BW, I did a truth. Oh, I already read that one. Sorry. For some reason, sometimes this scrolls to the top. Beast mode. Tarl, you have a good day, buddy. And that is a good deal, Tarl. I would steal drugs and sell them with you. That sounds like fun. We could get like a group of fishing trawlers, armor them up at least topically, load them with weapons, and just go out and intercept these ships ourselves. Why not? Don't even need a letter of marque for that. It's in international waters. What's gonna happen? The Venezuelan government complains? Like I give a shit about what they say? That would be funny. Yeah. Unfortunately, by the time you get back to port, you find that most of the drugs have already been used, but that's all good. Oh, also, there is one other story that I wanted to talk about. We will touch on food stamps in a moment. Quantum echoes reveal the potential of Google's quantum supercomputer. I wanted to touch on this. Quantum computing is still pretty much in its infancy, although it appears that they have made yet another breakthrough. It appears that they might be able to make calculations massively ahead of what standard computing would do. The irony is, and this article actually references this, by the way, again, link in the description, well, we would need another quantum computer to check the first quantum computer. That's getting a little bit creepy. Quantum computers are going to be checking one another for mathematical accuracy. Whatever. I'll accept that. If you were to tie this into AI, though, so instead of using standard computing, you had an actual quantum computer, 1,000 times more powerful than what you're currently using, the applications are effectively endless. At that point, you've got something that properly programmed approaches human intelligence. And it's technically better than human intelligence. A human is multifaceted. I can do math. I can read and write. I can understand science and history and all of these other things. What you would do with the computer is you would singularize it. So it can do math way better than you ever can. It may not be able to read or write in the standard sense, but it can do calculations much faster. Or it may be able to compile literature, analyze it, and so forth. It maybe cannot do math. And so you would need, and with quantum computing this becomes a lot easier, what you would need is a supercomputer powered by quantum technology that is capable of being multifaceted. At that point, you've created a life form. It would be alive, assuming that it's capable of being self-aware in any way, shape, or form. Even if not, effectively, how is that different from using lab-grown human brain neurons to power a computer? It's effectively the same thing. I hate to tell you this. I have fun talking about such issues. I just wanted to get into that because it's something that is of interest to me. Cooking Inferno Sticks, did you catch that video I sent you from Eating History with the recipe from a dish mentioned in Dracula? Looks delicious. By the way, to be clear, it's pronounced letters of mark. Oh, I thought it was marquis. I don't know. Is there a different Anglo versus French pronunciation for this particular word? I don't know. Yes, I did not see that episode. Please bump it to the top if you can. I would love some Dracula food. Ha ha ha. You might have sent it and I just didn't read it. I'm not 100% sure. Spike, I think the feds need to really start going after those blocking and ramming ICE vehicles. They're going to eventually get someone killed. At least their cars and they trash them. Yeah. There have been a number of vehicular rammings. The funny part is, they'll ramble about guns and how violent and terrible they are, and everyone who owns a gun just wants to shoot someone. But you can run somebody down in the streets with a vehicle real easy, and all you need to do is have an ID and be able to pay for him. And there's no real further regulation at all other than, hey, it has to be inspected. Copium. The word marquis, from marquis and reprisal, is pronounced mark. You are pronouncing marquis like marquee, as in the sign on concert venues and theaters that promote the next show. Or marquis, as in Marquis. Learned that from some grimoires, actually. Le Marquis. Lunar eclipse. Sticks. Isn't Malay of Argentina ANCAP adjacent? Why is Trump planning to bail out the country? Libertarianism can't work without pragmatism. This would be pragmatic, though, and I'll tell you why. And under normal circumstances, I would not support such a move. Argentina needs to have this particular help in order to make that transformation. So the idea is that you're buying in. Well, that sucks now, doesn't it? You buy in, and then later you're drawing back out. So it's sort of like investing in a bank account or anything like that, or a business venture, for example. Let's say you're starting a food stand, and I say, okay, well, I believe that your food stand will be, capable of making money, so I'm going to give you $10,000 in order for you to expand the food stand, advertise, get your ingredients and shit, of course, because you have to have something to sell, and so forth. And then over time, you're paying me back. And my hope is to get more back than I invested in you. Your hope is to take that investment and make a successful business. It's basically the same as what's happening in Argentina. Trump has decided to be bullish on Javier Milei. I happen to agree with him on this. I believe that unmolested, Milei will transform Argentina into a major economy. That would be really, really great for the United States too, because then we have another major economy that is really friendly with us. So you solve two problems at the same time. You make a return, and you've now got to do a new diplomatic partner. So I do support paying the Argentinians. I know some people are going to call me a cuck for this. This isn't what I voted for Trump for. He's given money to other countries. He has been. I noticed that the irateness level is higher for Argentina, potentially a very close and dear ally, run currently by a person who is amenable to our own administration, as opposed to giving that money to the Israelis or the Ukrainians. I note that there's a little bit of hypocrisy here. Just a little bit. Sigil, breaking news. Todd Howard has just announced the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Quantum Edition for Google's quantum computer. Promises automatically detailed Argonian maid pussy. It just works. That would be pretty funny. Not just a string. The first successful quantum computer will probably be announced by cracking encryption on a bank, Twitter, lol, or a double-spent OXO on a blockchain. Thank you for links in the description. Yeah, when it does become fully developed, somebody will misuse it. It's probably going to destroy the banking system. Can anyone really, with a straight face, say that you would, not like that to happen? Shit, we gotta do a reset, dudes. Well, that fucking sucks. Cooking Inferno. Okay, Mr. Fancy Pants. What do you call a marquis in the UK? And its feminine form. I believe that the term is the same, actually. I believe it is non-gendered, if I remember correctly, though it is usually used as a title of nobility for males, along with count and duke and things like that. I do not believe there's a female version, actually. You would have count and countess, duke and duchess. I do not know the female form of marquis. Spike, the Argentina bailout helps protects the dollar and drains the communist power out of South America. Also, our 10% buyout of Intel already made $100 billion for America. Yeah, see, I mean, it basically pays for itself. So, I mean, if you want to bail out Argentina temporarily, as long as you're getting a return, I see it as justified. It makes sense. Oh, T. Morris says Marquez. Copium, Sticks, new content idea. You should do a weekly live stream, like on Saturday or Sunday, where you live react to super chatted song suggestions. That sounds pretty cool. I need to get some background music actually made. I was going to do more Redneck Ralph stories. You might have seen the one that I uploaded. I really, really like doing vignettes, so I like pretending to be somebody else. A redneck, a Japanese samurai, it doesn't really matter. And then I try to make it comedic. You know, I make it as stereotypical as possible in order to make it funny. And I have a great time doing this fucking shit. I've been doing it for a long time. Unfortunately, a couple of my original Redneck Ralph files are unrecoverable. Nobody apparently downloaded them, and I don't have them. So I only have the one. It's really, really sad because I would love to hear the original Redneck Ralph where his car breaks down and he pulls into this redneck station, right? And they're just rambling and saying redneck stuff. And in the end, first the redneck says that his wife is also his sister. I can't remember exactly how I set it up because this was a long time ago. This is more than 10 years. And then he has his kids hitched up to ropes on the front of the car, and they're trying to tow him into town. But he loses control of the car, and then he runs them all over. And then he finally gets to the repair shop where he can get his car fixed. And then there was the one with Jeb Bush, where Redneck Ralph is distantly related to Jeb Bush, and he's got like a tobacco farm and stuff. And then all sorts of crazy shit happens. Like there's an Illuminati ceremony. He ends up accidentally shooting the Illuminati owl and stuff like that. I had a very, very great time making that. If any of you, by the way, has any of the Redneck Ralph recordings, please send them to me. I miss them very much. I thought that I downloaded them. Apparently, I did it before my last spree of making sure that things were saved in triplicate. Cooking Inferno. Sticks in the UK, it is Marquise, and the female form is Marchance. Sounds all French to me. You eating snails again, boy? Sigil. I've been finding it funny for a while that being a guy that writes, edits books, and having your entire career be literature, you're kind of bad at reading and flub chats all the time. That's funny. Well, I can't know every word in the world. That's the whole problem. I am very, very good with literature. Sometimes in multiple languages. That doesn't mean that I'm perfect. I'm good at doing spells. By the way, that term is quite literal. What do you think the term spell means? It literally means to spell something. Occasionally I fail. My problem. Wached Rex. Owl of Minerva did not fly at midnight. Sigh. Very, very sad. Cygnus, stop with the linguistics expert cope. Well, then debate me on the subject. See what happens. That would be my advice, at least. Oh, yeah, I see that the goofies have arrived. Believe it or not, it is possible for someone with a Connecticut River Valley accent to occasionally mispronounce a word, and it is possible for even someone who is skilled in linguistics to get a word wrong. And it means absolutely nothing. Nothing does. Sigil, you want to have a bait off, bro? Yeah, man, get that baiting going. Yes, Rambam. I'm saying if somebody wants to debate me on Old English linguistics, they are more than welcome to. It would be very, very funny, actually. Much for me. Bobby! Bobby Bobbinson. I'm gonna cast a chaos magic spell. To make Styx tell us the Vermont charge. It did not work. Sadly. Styx bleed red. Styx thanks God every day. The traffic lights and sidewalk signs are based off color and symbols. Lol. I fucking love all of you so much. Just saying, even the ones of those of you who hate me, it's still hilarious. Oh, Hoyle, yeah, you've got a good point. John Hoyle, I've read some 17th century texts. They didn't have standardized spelling for the same word. Odd. That's a good point. There was one time, this extends into the 1800s easily. There was one that I edited one time. I'm assuming that it was self-edited. I don't think that there was any professionalism involved with making this work. And there were so many spelling errors and so many words that were out of place and didn't even sometimes make sense. I had to plow through it, and of course, to create my edition, I can't remember the title of the work. I had to redact hundreds of errors, actually. It clearly never had a type editor. It probably was the result of somebody who was not even fully literate making a work. I believe it was an herbal, but I can't quite recall. Should have probably, gotten a copy of it, but I don't like to have copies of my own work because it feels pretentious. But yeah, I mean, there were so many errors in this work. It's like, a 10th grader probably wrote this or something like that. Someone with a 10th grade education. Maybe not even that. And I fixed it as best I could because if you look at words, I mean, the misspellings are easy. But if you look at antiquated words, usually you can find a modern doppelganger, right? And so it wasn't terribly difficult. It was just very amusing to me more than anything else. Bubba McCoy, in the 17th century we had spelling freedom. The government schools suppressed that freedom. The oddity is they're actually going back in that other direction. You're not wrong. Cooking Inferno. Yeah, but Styx, if you can't say what you really mean, how can you mean what you say? I mean, regarding pronunciations. They have different meanings depending on where you are. True. For instance, I'm a Vermonter. I'm not a Vermonter. I'm a Vermonter. That's because I come from the Connecticut River Valley side. Skippy, I don't hate you, Tarl. I just love to troll and shitpost. Yes, I know that. Don't worry, Skippy. Bobby, you're completely wrong. Oh, you'll be very surprised at what's to come very shortly. Happy Halloween, everybody! Anyway, I'm going to go offline now. I've got a few things to do, a little bit of work to docket, and also, at some point, I should probably eat some solid food. It's usually recommended as part of your average diet. So, yeah, I'm going to go offline now, and, I got some literary work to do, I suppose. Everything else has been done, though. Honestly, I kind of want to take the afternoon off, drag the rig into the room, play Napoleon Total War. I really want to march up that hill with my Lightfoot, and I really, really wish that I could record it and show it to you, because you would see some formidable shit, my dude. Copium poppies. Poop. Very, very wise comment. Sigilstone, Halloween surprise, Styx helicopters his dick on stream. Don't put it past me. Sigil, or he tries to because it's too small. I am a grower, not a shower, but yeah, it's average. The The meme used to be 10.2. It's actually not 10.2. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry that I have an average penis. I think it's slightly above average. Not 100%. I don't even give a shit. Anyway. Oh my, says Bobby Bobbinson. Yeah, you love that. Now everyone's going to spend the next 10,000 years speculating in my cock size. I'm sorry. I'm being a little bit flippant today. Today was a little bit of a weird day. Woke up very, very happy. I'm just like, fuck it, basically. And so I got in the news. There's not much news to talk about, so I figured, yeah, well, I might as well just joke around about things all day. It's pretty fun. As far as the food stamps go, though, I'm probably going to carry that over till tomorrow. And because the liberals really, somebody needs to call them out for this bullshit. You can't say that Trump is shutting down the food stamp system. But at the same time, there is a definite purpose to Trump trying to uphold it and keep it going. I realize that it takes taxpayer money. I would much rather pay my taxpayer money towards giving food to some fucking 8-year-old kid as opposed to bombing an 8-year-old kid in Yemen. If Trump says, hey, I'm loosening the purse strings with this discretionary funding, I ain't gonna blame him whatsoever. I would be unhappy if he doesn't do so, actually. On that token, technically speaking, I'm siding with the liberals, which is something that doesn't happen easily. So I'm hoping that he does that. It would also be best for his political aspirations as well. So yeah, I'm going to go offline. I'm going to do a little bit of collating, and then I'm sacking out because literally I have no more energy for anything political today. I cover enough of it already. That's about all. Peace out.